request Justice Uday sir, the Nagarathnna, and Justice of HON'BLE and other Mr. Narasimha, Mukherjee, Subodh, Markandeya, Karpaga, Vinayagam, Chander, Uday, please come on the dais. Thank you very much, sir. On behalf of Retd, all grateful to you. We have very valuable time and Justice Nagarathnna, all the way to this thing. Here, I am grateful to you. Mr. Rahul Agarwal will be appreciated. Thank you very much, sir. On behalf of Retd. you very much. Sometime the book was released by Justice LALIT. This was our several members of us has written different articles. A wonderful response from the bar also, library also, the latest. Now I request you to this. Sorry. Small recapitulation about our Friday group. It was 2015 July 10th. It was started in library 2. The initial speaker was Justice Karpaga. That's why specially called under NARAS. The elder person is Markandeya, the oldest person here. So that's why I called him. This book he was maximum time he has given, and all the help I am getting from this Chander and getting to Rahul and Pratap Singh. Now more than today we are celebrating 150th Friday group meeting. So 149 up to that in the almost in library 2, and only first year we celebrated in the ILI, that is first year annual meet. That's a topic called the birth of universe, the birth of religion, the birth of independence, like the several people's address on that topic. And second, third, fourth, fifth. So now we have started our YouTube channel also in 2017. So now we have 101, that is our own channel in YouTube, Friday Group Judicial, or you can say that link, you click it. Now more than 8 lakhs viewers we have. That is 19,000 subscribers we have. In fact, initial days I used to request kindly subscribe, kindly subscribe. In 2017 we started uploading. Now it's myself is a great satisfaction. Sir, Lakship, we are highly grateful to you. The way I have a sentiment and entire Friday group, the way you are doing in 100 also, now also the second time you are done. Lakship, you are also grateful to you. Narasimha is a great distinguished. He was in 100, he was a speaker as a senior advocate. Now as a judge, he is a speaker. He may speak in the 2-3 minutes. He refused to, he want to sit in that front row. I said no, you are at that time as a senior advocate, as a speaker. Now judge, it is all private movement for this thing from bar. You are moreover your Friday group, owning Friday group to you, and we are all grateful to you. Thank you very much. So this is the overall background of this. Now I request one by one, Mr. Subodh Markandeya will say a few words about 2-3 minutes. I given all these speakers for 3 to 5 minutes about overall.
So I'm a very old man. I'm liable to forget. So I have a little typed out speech here, which I will read. Honorable Justice Shri Uday LALIT, Honorable Justice Srimati V.V. Nagarathna, Honorable Justice Shri P.S. Narasimha, Shri G.Seshagiri, our adorable administrator of the Friday group, dignitaries on the dais, and my sisters and brothers at the bar. We have all assembled here with the overflowing audience and enthusiasm to celebrate this landmark event of 150th meeting of the Friday group. Our founder administrator is the driving force behind this phenomenal growth of the Friday group which he described. We are very keenly looking forward to hear Justice LALIT on the late Chief Justice of India, Shri P.N. Bhagwati's contribution to the judicial development in our country. And also we are very keen to hear Justice Nagarathna and other speakers. So, Justice Bhagwati had set in motion the public interest litigation and legal aid which brought relief to hundreds of thousands of litigations. I don't want to take more of your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Markandeya sir. So nice of you. Within 3 minutes you completed your question. Now I request Chander Uday Singh will say, he was former executive, senior executive of SCBA. Before pandemic, in the pandemic, he requested our link as a senior ethic. Can we use our link for their Supreme Court website. So kind and immediately circulated. Maybe that was the one reason we increased our viewers in the YouTube channel. Sir, please.
Thank you, Sheshu. Well, Justice LALIT, Justice NAGARATHNA, Justice NARASIMHA. I'm not going to even venture to speak on Justice P.N. Bhagwati. I'm sure Justice LALIT is going to regale us with great research, and I was privileged to hear on YouTube, of course, some of his speeches on other learned judges, Justice Chander and others, and so I'm really looking forward to this. But it's an interesting coincidence that today the three learned judges who are on the dais are what I was told when I moved to the Supreme Court about 12 years ago are known as golden judges. So all three are going to be gracing Court 1 as Chief Justice of India, and we really look forward to that. And also look forward to the speeches today. So I won't take up any more time. I'm really happy that Sheshu has started this and seen it through, and actually it's become an institution. The Friday group is now really an institution, and may it go from strength to strength. Thank you.
Thank you, Singh sir. Very nice and nicely said. You are all the way helpful to our Friday group. Now I request Rana Mukherjee will say a few words. Rana Mukherjee is always helpful to Friday group, particularly to me. Thank you very much, Ranaji. Please.
Well, good evening, and this is LALIT, this is NAGARATHNA, and this is NARASIMHA. I think this is a crowning glory for this Friday group. We have three future Chief Justices gracing this occasion. It's not easy to even think of having three future Chief Justices with us. That's one bit. The other bit is that we know the institution in strong hands. The institution behind us is as much responsible to judges as with us. I mean, if we don't rise up to the occasion, judges can't deliver. Please take it from me. They always seek help from us, and these little Friday groups, etc., only advance the cause of knowledge. We learn so much about Justice Bhagwati. He himself was an organic judge here, as they call it. He developed few concepts. Every judge developed concepts. But he left an indelible mark in the history of the Supreme Court and in India. And every judge is carrying that legacy forward in their own style, own way. Every judge has his own outlook. And we as lawyers also owe abounding responsibility to the institution. And I request all of you to be responsible. Help the judges come to a just decision and stop criticizing judges, because they are working day in and day out to see that people get justice. And Sheshu has been a very good friend. These are little instances where he makes requests and one can't refuse, even if you are busy. A genuine, honest advocate who helps cause to serve the justice. And I leave it at that. Thank you so much for coming. And I hope the numbers increase when the next time you have the 151st meeting. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ranaji. Sir, nicely expressed, and thank you very much. Then out of the way, little bit, we request our Basant sir will say a few words. Your experience in this journey, you also address several, your videos are this thing. Please come, sir. Please.
Respected judges, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Sheshu, for this unexpected honor given to me. I've been a great fan of this Friday group. Well, Article 51AJ of the Constitution says, to strive for excellence is the fundamental duty of all Indian citizens. I see this fundamental duty in action every Friday. Thank you very much, Sheshu. I must also say, we must really appreciate the very senior judges being able to be here. I find that that is an expression of their yearning to see that the strive for excellence is promoted by us lawyers and by judges and by the institution itself. Their presence today, I reckon, as an acceptance of the work of the Friday group and their yearning for all of us together must strive for excellence. Thank you very much for the honor.
Thank you very much, Basant sir. Really, we enjoyed all your speeches and very emotional and energetic. Now I request our good friend, senior advocate Sidharth will say a few words about to give a lecture. Because of some reason we could not make it in a Friday group.
Respected judges and friends, don't have much to say except that when I joined Supreme Court, which is not very long as compared to some of the members present here, they used to be organized by SCBA, a lecture series for fresh law graduates, which used to be held in Library 2. And in that we were schooled in the etiquette of how we are supposed to argue in court, what are the words we are supposed to use, which I find now is, I'm too young to say it, but is absent with words like yeah, all right, everything being used by a lot of lawyers who start off here. My only point that I'm making is that if Seshu can, along with the intellectual part of the Friday group, also include in it an etiquette part to school the young lawyers who are joining the bar. In Supreme Court, I can understand it's overawing and you may forget to use the correct words, it only comes by habit. That in schooling them in the etiquette would go a long way to build the bar, especially our beloved Supreme Court Bar Association, and it would help further the career of a lot of lawyers in the Supreme Court. So that is my only request. All the other lectures on various topics, etc., of course we can give, people can learn about it, but on this aspect which is more practical and which may go a long way to a lawyer who I learned because I remember the person who was lecturing was the great Mr. Fali Nariman, and he told us that look, all you young people here, tomorrow you will not have cases every day. There will be days where we will not have any cases. So you must pick up a hobby, you must exercise, and you must sit in a court and learn law, because you can never have as many cases as the judge is deciding on a particular day. If you don't have anything to do, better than sitting in the canteen, something that I didn't follow, but better than sitting in the canteen, sit in a court and learn the law. So my request to Seshu, our dear friend, is that please see to it, if you can, implement this part of the etiquette and so that it helps build the bar a little more. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dattaveji. I try to implement as much as possible. If a human being can do, I love to. That's Lordship is saying it's a good suggestion. I have no other way to accept it. I was listening. Now, out of Lordship's permission, I will request Justice Nagamuthu also will give. Please, sir. We are missing you continuously. Last time also he said we are not put your name on this thing. That's why Lordship's permission I took.
Good evening to the dignitaries on the dais and the dignitaries of the dais. It is my privilege to stand before you to say a few words about Friday group. So when I joined this bar in 2017, when I was not aware of this Friday group. One day, suddenly, Seshu told me that there is a group like Friday group where we would like you to give lecture. One day before he told me. Next day, he called me and unexpectedly I was called there. I gave a lecture. It all started like that. So as and when I am here, I never wish to be there to hear the wonderful lectures of many senior advocates and even judges. I can't remember the day when Honorable Justice G. Narasimha was the senior advocate giving lecture as to how to interpret Constitution. Probably there was one of the best lectures which I have heard on the interpretation of Constitution. Like that I can say many of the lectures. So for want of time I cannot extend my speech except saying there were My greetings to Seshu and his teams for this wonderful job that they are doing. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. Nagamuthu sir. Even midnight also I can trouble him. Whenever I am in trouble, when suddenly one speaker had some matter in the court or went to some other RC, he used to help me out of the way, honestly. When midnight at 11:30, yes, and excellent speeches. So this is the one. Finally, we requested Mr. Justice Karpaga Vinayagam. So initially we started with him. So this is 1 to 150th. So more than 10 times he addressed us. We are all grateful to sir. He is always helpful to you, Friday group, and all moral encouragements and yes, please.
My humble pranams to the lotus feet of Bhagwan Satya Sai Baba, honorable judges, honorable brothers and sisters of this august audience. I could see the 150 volt of LED bulbs from the faces of the lawyers who are assembled here. In fact, it was started, a child was born on 10/7/15 and 7 years completed on 10/7/22. He's a 7 years old boy. He's just jumping now. The number 7 is unique one, significant one. 7 mountains, 7 oceans, 7 rishis, 7 swaras, 7 days a week. And 7 is like a heaven now. Point is, there is a principles, 7 principles. सच्चाई से रहना चाहिए, सत्यवादी से रहना चाहिए, सावधानी से रहना चाहिए, साधारण से रहना चाहिए, संतोष से रहना चाहिए, and प्रेम से रहना चाहिए, अच्छा मनुष्य से रहना चाहिए. That is 7 values. We are not to be valued by the valuables we possess. We are not to be valued by the valuables we possess, but we are to be valued by the values we possess. What is values? Satyam, Dharmam, Shantam, Premam, Ahimsam. Satya Sai Baba says. There are 7 commandments pronounced by Satya Sai Baba. First commandment, I, single letter, avoid it. Second letter, 2 letters, we, use it. 3 letters, ego, kill it. 4 letters, love, value it. 5 letters, smile, keep it. 6 letters, rumor, ignore it. 7th letters, sachiv, achieve it. We are born for achieving a purpose. In fact, life is a gift given by the God. Life is a gift given by the God. What we achieve in the society by improving society is a gift returned to the God. And in fact, there is a word Om. Om means A-U-M. Now all the 3 gods are sitting here. A is just LALIT, U is just NARASIMHA, M is NAGARATHNA, just NAGARATHNA. All the 3 gods are sitting, but they are not gods, they are doing a godly function. You take it from me, I have not decided to become a judge. I wanted to become a cinema actor. I acted a hero in 1,000 dramas in Chennai. I got about to enter the cinema theatre, but MGR asked me, no, you are a man of character. I want to become a judge of High Court. What is it? It's a joke of the day. It is, after his death, it has become true. Nothing at all. Whatever the positions and all, you may attain position. Where you are is not important. What you are is important. What you are is not important. How you do is important. How you do is important. For whom you do is important. For whom you do is not important. What you do must reach those for whom you do is very, very important. We must say, we must serve society. Sabko sahayata kare. Sabko prem kare. Sabko seva kare. We are born to achieve some purpose. Help ever, hurt never. What is the best dress? Smile. What is the best medicine? Laughter. What is the best experience? What is the best teacher? Experience. Who is the best woman? Mother. Which is the best country? India. A poem is written by a person about beautiful nature of India. Oh, what a beautiful India. Punjab for fighting, Bengal for writing. Oh, what a beautiful India. Kashmir for beauty, Andhra for beauty. Oh, what a beautiful India. Just Narasimha will be very happy on that. Rajasthan for history, Maharashtra for victory. Oh, what a beautiful India. Mysore for silk, Haryana for big. Oh, what a beautiful India. Assam for agitation, Madhya Pradesh for vegetation. Oh, what a beautiful India. Jharkhand for minerals, Orissa for temples. Oh, what a beautiful India. Kerala for brains, Tamil Nadu for grains. Oh, what a beautiful India. We must realize that we are a proud Indian. We must be proud that every body is meant to help others. River provide waters to help others. Trees bear fruits to help others. And cow yield milk to help others. Idam paropakaram saridam. That is the thing. Every body is meant by some purpose. Head, chest, hands. Everything is for purpose. Brain is a prime minister. Eyes are law minister. Nose are health minister. Tooth are industries minister. Tongue the information broadcasting minister. Hands are labor minister. Lungs are home minister. The lungs are home minister and power minister is the blood, finance minister is the heart. The stomach is the food and agriculture fertilizer minister, skin is the defense minister, legs are transport minister. All the ministers department in with you. Why? To help. Now, Mr. Secretary of giving a legal education to youngsters. Education for what? Education for giving a character. शिक्षा जीवन के लिए, जीवन प्रेम के लिए, प्रेम मानव के लिए, मानव समाज के लिए, समाज संसार के लिए, संसार शांत के लिए. That Shantam he gives is the greatest achievement, remarkable achievement. Is every appreciation that he is Seshagiri now gave. So. பல்லாண்டு பல்லாயிரத்தாண்டு பல கோடி நூறாயிரம் வாழ்க வாழியவே. சாய்ராம்.
Thank you very much, sir. Karpaga Vinayagam, sir. You are always encouraging this thing. Now I request our good friend from Bar, Mr. Justice P.S. Narasimha, will speak a few words. In fact, very difficult to say. He doesn't want to speak, he wants to sit in the front row actually. Because of force, my force and other is that way, how can we miss? Please, Narasimha, whatever possible, shortest time.
One thing Supreme Court lawyer has learned, it is to deliver at the shortest time. Because our SLP training has given us that. Honorable Justice LALIT, Justice NAGARATHNA, dignitaries on the dais and off the dais. I would only do one thing, take opportunity and congratulate the Friday group. Coming to Friday group is homecoming for me. And only one thing I can say is that if it had come to this stage, there is nothing but selfless service of Sheshu, except for this dedication. There is nothing else in this. And you see the prosperity that Friday group has achieved because of his contribution, in which all of us are participants. With this I take leave. Thank you very much. Thank you.
very much. This is Narasimha. I am grateful to you. Really, you are represented to our bar and the Friday group. You just kept your promise. Just now, I request Justice our loud judge, SSB NagarathnA ji will come and say. I to request her a few what we want to hear. Actually, Lalit's are full-fledged and Bhagwati is this thing. Whatever possible, madam, you get a few words, whatever it is, the encouragement for us. She is going to be Judicial of India 2027 before Narasimha's elevation. Now, we are all waiting, Justice Lalit sir, Justice Narasimha. We are all waiting for just August 27, sir. You will be Chief Justice of India. We have to give one promise, sir. We will felicitate you, subject to your permission after immediately. We will take it on behalf of the Friday group, all our members. We are ready. Now, Nagarathna ji will say for encouraging the Friday group and overall the long experience, rich experience as a woman and other thing.
Good evening and namaskar to everybody. Honorable Justice LALIT, who is a great judge and a great gentleman. Honorable Justice P.S. Narasimha, who was my colleague in college, but I didn't know him at that time. But I'm happy that I have been able to meet him after 31st of August 2021. Honorable Justice Karpaga, Vinayagam, learned senior members on the dais and off the dais, learned members of the bar. At the outset, I congratulate this Friday group and its members for achieving such a grand success of having 150th Friday group meeting today. It is indeed appropriate that Honorable Justice Lalit has come to deliver this address on the 150th celebration. I am told that he also delivered the lecture on the 100th event. Yes, on contempt of courts, yes. See, in our profession there is no end to learning, and this Friday group is a quick way of learning various nuances in law, particularly the speakers who would have brought, after a great detailed research, the latest on positions of law on various topics of law. And I am told that this is followed by an interaction. Therefore, according to me, since learning is never ending, this Friday group is really a purposeful achievement for the advocates to come on a Friday evening after the SLPs are over and continue to sit and attend this meeting. Therefore, my congratulations once again. As I said, you see, the flame of learning in us, according to me, will always make us remain young. If we judges appear to be young on the bench, despite we being in our 60s or whatever, late 50s, early 60s, it is because we have this urge to learn. Therefore, learning is never ending. It makes a person humble and also adds to the knowledge worthiness of the person. As I said, we judges learn from the bar. The advocates, when they argue a case, we always look forward to what is coming from them. And sometimes our day is made when a certain advocate really places the matter before us in a most befitting manner. I would say that being a judge for the last 14.5 years or so, the satisfaction which we get at the end of the day is not when we hear a good argument, but we are able to transform that argument into a decision, and that decision really satisfies us. Therefore, apart from this Friday group, which is an incentive for the advocates to acquire knowledge on this, at this platform, I would urge them that they should also derive satisfaction from the profession from the work that they do. Even if an advocate loses a case, he must still have the satisfaction that he had given his best to the matter. Therefore, again, I emphasize that learning is important. My short experience at the Supreme Court has been good, and I pray that it will remain and continue to be so. Ultimately, we lawyers and judges, we all bring our experiences to the court hall, and after a good and robust interaction, ultimately the object is to ensure that justice is done in the case. And therefore, a healthy interaction between the bar and the bench in the courtroom is of vital importance. You see, just as lawyers and litigant public expect judges to do justice in the case, as I said, lawyers also must do justice to their briefs, and therefore we judges expect the best from them. So with a short note, I once again congratulate Mr. Sheshagiri Rao, who has been really the brain behind this Friday group, and I would say even the backbone, for he has continued it for 150 editions, and I wish each one of you the very best. I thank the Friday group for giving me an opportunity, and particularly to my dear brother Justice Narasimha for introducing me to this group. Thank you and namaskar.
Thank you very much, my lords. We are highly grateful to you. Immediately you accepted my invitation. Maybe Narasimha persuaded. We are highly grateful the way you explained the education and continuous legal education for an academic purpose and youngsters. Very nicely explained with your vast experience and everything. Now finally we are waiting for our chief guest, Justice Uday. The topic is Judicial Contribution of Justice P. N. Bhagwati. Lordship, please come and tell your this. We are all waiting for you.
My esteemed colleagues, Justice Nagarathna, Justice Narasimha, all the dignitaries on and off the dais, the various advocates present here, with whom I have perhaps fought battles against them, all the learned senior counsel, all the advocates, there are a few juniors here. So this is to you. Very difficult to fathom the depth of an ocean and the gigantic sort of proportions of sky. Similar is the personality of Justice Bhagwati and his contribution. So please don't take it that whatever I say of this gentleman, this jurist, this philosopher, his greatest contributor is just the tip of the iceberg. Maybe just one drop in the ocean. I saw this man for the first time when Re's special court was being argued. I was a student then, come to the Supreme Court, bench in court number 1, Chief Justice Chander presiding, Judge number 2, Bhagwati, Judge number 3, Krishna here. And what a galaxy of judges. It was that private member Jethmalani's bill for special courts, which in advisory jurisdiction, the President had sought the opinion of the Supreme Court. And the kind of discussion which went on. I must confess that most of it was completely going beyond my head and capacity, but everything sounded so well. That's when I saw Krishnaya for the first time, that's when I saw Bhagwati for the first time, and that's when I saw Chandrachud for the first time. All three heroes. I had the opportunity to speak about Justice Chandrachud, Justice Krishnaya. So I said, how could I leave the other hero behind? And that's how I'm here before you on this topic, Justice Bhagwati. What a remarkable career the man can have. At the age of less than 39, he was elevated as Judge of the High Court. All his life he practiced in Bombay as a lawyer. After the reorganization of states, when Gujarat got carved out of what is called Bombay province, 4 judges of Bombay High Court were sent to Gujarat. And the 5th person who was soon elevated was Bhagwati. 1960 he becomes judge at the age of less than 39. Within 7 years, he is Chief Justice of that court. And greatest contributions from this man starting right from his innings in the High Court. And one very beautiful contribution, and I consider him and Justice Krishnaya to be the fathers of legal aid movement in this country. As Chief Justice of Gujarat High Court, a committee was constituted under his chairmanship, which went into the issue as to how legal aid should be dispensed with, how it can be extended to weaker and marginalized sections. That report is the first sort of authoritative kind of research on the concept of legal aid and how it should be extended to the marginalized sections. It was soon followed by a committee which was constituted at the central level by the central government. That time it was under the chairmanship of Justice Krishnaya, who was then Judge of Kerala High Court. And these 2 reports, I call them Magna Carta of legal aid in this country. 72, before 72. 73, both of them get elevated to Supreme Court. July 73. Mind is, before 71, 72, the amendment to the Constitution which introduces 39A comes in by 44th Amendment or the 46th Amendment. So look at the kind of vision that these persons had. That even before the parliamentary wisdom actually gets translated in something, some material incorporation of 39A, these people had thought of that, these people had gone well beyond that. Even as Judge of Gujarat High Court, his one significant judgment was about the rights of Hindu women, especially under succession law, and what we call the limited estate of a Hindu widow or a Hindu woman. He, after coming to Supreme Court, he writes in the same lines in Tulsamma. Tulsamma is a judgment of 3 judges. The lead judgment is by Justice Fazal Ali. But interestingly, Justice Bhagwati writes a concurring view with whom the 3rd judge agrees. So actually the lead judgment is by Justice Bhagwati. So these are just some of the ideas. What was this man? He is supposed to have had such a brilliant career that at the matriculation examination, and in those days matriculation of Bombay Board used to be for the entire Bombay province. And Bombay province used to extend from what is presently Sindh area in Pakistan, would include Gujarat, entire western Maharashtra, today's area, and extend right up to Karpaga. So that was the area of Bombay University or Bombay Board. And Justice Bhagwati stood first in mathematics. So that's the kind of capacity the man had right from the beginning. Before I go into any other things, just a minor anecdote. My father once told me, Bhagwati was elevated in 1916, my father joined the bar in 1955. So therefore 5 years he had seen these persons who were practicing in Bombay. They said that in one of the liquidation matters, he was assisting somebody, a leading senior, and on the other side was this young lawyer named P.N. Bhagwati. And my dad says that he completely punctured our arguments in no less than 45 minutes, and we were all sort of completely shred to pieces. So that's the capacity even as a lawyer. When he comes here in 1973, 73 to 86, 13 years. So he was elevated at the age of 52. 13 years and 7.5 years as judge in court number 2. Perhaps I think that court deserves the portrait of Justice Bhagwati for the longest inning that somebody has had in that court. In the span of 13 years, number of judgments, numbers don't make any difference, but still 821 judgments, out of which 116 are decisions of constitutional benches where he was a part. Why am I giving these figures? These figures are absolutely mind-boggling, the kind of opportunity, but not just the opportunity to making good use of that opportunity, turning it into completely golden era for the Indian Supreme Court. That's what some of the judges, for instance, Krishna Iyer has had 55 constitution bench rulings to his credit. This man, 116. We all know what is Maneka Gandhi. There's no point in telling you what Maneka Gandhi actually implies and what it has settled down. That's not just one or two decisions. It is in every branch of law that the man has contributed. As a young student, my grandfather taught me one Sanskrit Subhashitam, which was Akashat patitam toyam yatha gacchati sagaram sarvadeva namaskaraha keshavam prati gacchati. Any drop of water which falls from the skies finally reaches the ocean in some form or the other, river, rivulet, stream, or whatever you call it. Similarly, any namaskar that you offer to any god finally reaches the ultimate god, that is Keshava. So that's the Sanskrit Subhashit. I don't have that kind of command over Sanskrit language, but if I may say that every branch of law, the originator, the thinker, you can source it to Justice Bhagwati at times. I don't want to recount everything because the kind of time that is available at our disposal will be very, I won't be able to do justice. But let me just go one by one, some of the areas that are actually the flag bearers in those distinctions or in those distinct areas. Take for instance Article 12. Ajay Hasya. So who expanded the scope as to what is supposed to be the state, what is supposed to be the parameters that we actually govern while reading state or other authorities, and say that the state for the purposes of part 3, what shall be. So that's one is Ajay Hasya. Then what we have is 14, 19, 21, the trilogy that comes in Maneka Gandhi. We have one of the other thoughts, which is what is the amending power of the parliament, and some of his decisions, Maneka Gandhi, or rather Minerva Mills on the point. But what is material is P. Sambamurthy. P. Sambamurthy was a case where a provision which was brought in by way of amendment to the constitution said that when it came to tribunals, the decisions of the tribunals would actually be made ineffective by the executive. So the discussion in Sambamurthy goes in this fashion that in this country we go by rule of law. Rule of law contemplates separation of power and the power unto judicial organ to lay down and to consider or interpret provisions of law and everything. So how can a decision rendered by a judicial or quasi-judicial body be set at naught by the executive? And there you have the grains of what finally was accepted in many other judgments subsequently. So the constitutional amendment was set aside. Let us go into commercial law. Of course, there are many decisions like Royappa and others, I'll be simply multiplying. I'm just trying to sort of flag certain things and then let us consider it. Say commercial law. A beautiful concept such as promissory estoppel, Motilal Padampat. Of course, the grains are to be found in Indo-Afghan, which was Justice G.Seshagiri's exposition. But what Bhagwati lays down in that Motilal Padampat is now supposed to be the basic part of what we attribute and what we consider as concept of promissory estoppel. Very well. He was considering a matter under MRTP law and what is the scope of an appeal, and it had made reference to the provisions of the appellate jurisdiction which was then available under section 100. So that was Mahindra and Mahindra. So the theory of reference by incorporation. Again, a beautiful concept which was touched upon by him. And then we see so many judgments on the point which are thereafter following what was actually the path was shown by Justice Bhagwati. Just the other day, Justice Narasimha was part of the bench which we were hearing income tax matters, Surat Art Silk, again on the tax law side. ATJ matters were heard by a bench of Justice Bhagwati. On excise customs, there are judgments by Justice Bhagwati. So therefore on commercial law front, again the same thing. In educational law, we associate Justice Bhagwati's judgment in Pradeep Jain to be a path breaker, to say this was the first judicial decision which contemplated that the seats in medical colleges be pulled together what is called 15% All India quota, and then students from any part of the country should have opportunity to compete to get admitted against those seats. That was sometime Pradeep Jain, 84. Last 38 years, we have been following that principle. Every year, all India quota examinations are held. Then we have, of course, developed law thereafter. Like, how the seats should be allocated, what kind of timetable should be set, etc. But the idea comes from where? Idea comes from Pradeep Jain. Similarly, many other matters, say for instance, criminal law. His judgment in legal remembrancer said that even after dismissal of 482 petition, you can file another petition. And there the petition was filed within 11 months, and he entertained that. That has become the law. We still follow that law, and we do not have any limitations akin to what is normally called res judicata principle or issue estoppel. We allow as many innings or as many bites at the cherry as possible. His decision in Bhagwan Singh, where if a negative report is filed after investigation by the police, negative in the sense, either what you call in some of the parts of the country it is called final report, in some of the parts it is called negative report, or sort of what is called the no offense made out, summary. He developed the law to say that at that juncture, the complainant has an interest in the matter, and therefore the complainant should be put to notice, and it is the obligation upon the magistrate to issue notice to the complainant so that he has the opportunity to present his viewpoint whether such negative report be accepted or not. That has become the norm that we have accepted. How many times do we see that, even after negative report, if the complainant comes back and says that so and so things, the judges have taken a different view, the magistrates have taken a different view and taken cognizance on that. So again, the originator of these ideas is Justice Bhagwati. Hindu law, Samman. Every judgment is, I must tell you, I joined the chambers of Mr. Sorabji sometime in October 1986. I came here to this court in December 85. I saw Justice Bhagwati for full year, that is January 86 till December 86 in court number 1. I used to go to that court and sit there, just watch what is going on. I must have seen at least 7 constitution bench matters in that court, including Sambamurthy and others. DC Vadwa, Sambamurthy, oleum gas. Then, of course, yes, Sampat Kumar. Sampat Kumar was also argued around that time. Every time what you would see, the man energetic, his eyes would be sort of full of interest, would be taking note of mental calculations, what exactly the counsel is arguing and where does it lead. So he would be like that mathematician that he was. He would be able to contemplate where is that argument going to lead after 3 or 4 steps, and then would put those questions, and they would be very, very searching questions. A very gentle person, absolutely friendly demeanor in court, but substance-wise, a dynamite. I still recollect oleum gas because that was the matter after I joined Swarajji's chamber. October to December, Justice Bhagwati wanted to lay down the law. Around the time when there was Bhopal gas leak, there was also a gas leak in one of the factories here of DCM Limited, that oleum gas. Of course, the damage was not to the tune as it was found in Bhopal. The death toll was not so much, but the principle was same. Rylands versus Fletcher, that if you are storing something in your premises and it escapes, you must actually be responsible in every sense of the term. So he appointed Mr. Swarajji as amicus in the matter. And that was a treat to watch. My senior had highest regard for Justice Bhagwati's ability. He would always say, Prafulli judgment nahi. So get the judgment of Praful is Praful Chandra Bhagwati. So that's the kind of impact that he had on the council. He would draw the best out of the council. When DC Wadhwa was being argued, I still recollect Dhananjay Chandrachud used to come to assist Mr. Swarajji, and his research was completely foolproof. That in Bihar, ordinance after ordinance, it was ordinance Raj. So the matter was very clear, but in no time Bhagwati had understood everything, and his questions again were very, very searching. So the kind of exposure he had, and yet in the shortest possible time, he was able to react. These are my experience which I saw Justice Bhagwati as. Why do I say that, a gentleman, and that's why I was just having a chat with some of the colleagues in the tea room before we assembled here. And I said that in SP Gupta, which is again SP Gupta, Bandhuwa Mukti Morcha, these are judgments on what is called locus standi. The principles, which is the restricted view, getting completely shattered, and you are opening the frontiers to say that yes, we will entertain a petition despite the person may not be having real locus in the matter, but locus standi for the purposes of maintaining an action will relax those principles. So I was just chatting with the persons in the coffee room, and I said, SP Gupta decided in 1982, heard in the year 1981. It refers to an article by a young law student that time, whose name was D.Y. Chandrachud, 1981. And that's the kind of whatever was reflected today, that the learning has no limits, the learning has no bounds. So look at the magnanimity, I won't say magnanimity, it is the desire to gather any pearls of wisdom coming from any source. And for him, it did not matter at all that perhaps the article in question was written by a law student. And that's where he drew inspiration to a certain extent. Coming back to his contribution now, Husainara Khatun, again on criminal side. So, you have these path-breaking judgments at every juncture. Husainara Khatun then got translated in such what we call the jurisprudence that a person should not be, as an under trial, be kept behind bars for a sufficiently long time. there must be some recourse, there must be some ventilation for his kind of discomfort, and the court must be alive to that. These are some of the judgments on criminal side. I must say that Sheshu demands the best out of you. So what happens is that from your usual humdrum of regular work, you just have to take out certain things and then consider, yes, one more thing. Ramana Dayaram Shetty, how could I forget that? What is today's tender law on commercial side is all because of Ramana Dayaram Shetty, Airport Authority of Law. And there he relies on very beautiful passage from Chief Justice Frankfurter, that government must be bound by the policy it professes, and that we have accepted as notion in our law. If a particular policy is being laid down by the government, we do not allow the government to deviate from that, and we hold that government bound to that policy. Of course, subject to other sort of limitations. There could be a legislation which may intervene, that's a different idea altogether. But the policy in terms, and that's exactly why he relied upon that Frankfurter's beautiful passage. So one such thing was Ramana Dayaram Shetty. National Textile Corporation. Again, coming to labor and industrial law. In case liquidation of a company, to say that the workers have locus and they must be heard in the matter. Again, these are the dimensions which he has opened and the frontiers which have been sort of kept available at every juncture. In oleum gas, there was this awareness that the environment is something which must be protected. 2 or 3 other features, and then I'll just sum it up. Today we see computerization which has taken roots everywhere. In Supreme Court 1986 onwards, the computerization started when Bhagwati was the Chief Justice. Legal aid program, as I told you, it all started in his times. He is the one who openly advocated what is called judicial activism. Today we see so many manifestations of that in subsequent judgments, whether it is Vishakha, whether it is Madhuri Patil, whether it is any other law. The start of that is actually in the theories propounded by Justice Bhagwati. And what he said about judicial activism in one of his articles is gives you the window to what the great man used to think on the point. And what he said is very, very material. If I may just read that. There are cases where a decision one way or the other will count for the future, will advance or retard, sometimes much, sometimes little, the development of the law in a proper direction. It is in these type of cases where the judge is to leap into the heart of legal darkness, where the lamps of precedent and common law principles flicker and fade, that the judge gets an opportunity to mold the law and give it its shape and direction. This is what we have been trying to do in India. This is what Justice Bhagwati on judicial activism. This gives you the insight of what that great man was. Every opportunity, it was not just deciding the case before him. As I told you, he is a great mathematician. He could think way beyond what is the normal boundaries of a case. A lady getting denied a passport, and you have such great exposition of law on what Article 21 contemplates. So it's just one spark somewhere, and you have that such beautiful scenario which appears before you. This idea, this capacity, this tremendous ability on his part to develop something out of nothing, and that's what he says, that we must leap into that darkness and create a path. This is what Justice Bhagwati was. I must also share with you that when Justice Bhagwati died, there was a beautiful write-up by Mr. Sorabji, and I used that very last 3 lines in the memory of my late senior. And he had said this about Justice Bhagwati, and that is what, if I may read that, if there be another planet that we inhabit after we have shuffled off our mortal coil, I would like to be with dear Praful and reminisce and recount our judicial journey in this planet. So this is what Sorabji said about Bhagwati. In that memorial service after Sorabji's sad demise, I said, as a junior, I would like to be around. And that's what perhaps I think every student of law would say, that we would like to be around when such stalwarts exchange ideas. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much, my lord. Excellent speech. Let us give a standing ovation, our lord. We are highly, highly grateful on behalf of the group. And so sentimental. Honestly, I can say in one quote after Venkatachala quote in your quote, sir, Lordship, I am enjoying academically and learning so much of knowledge. If anybody have any time, let's go and sit in Lordship's court, Lalit's court. Definitely we will get a lot of knowledge, lot of citations and excellent inputs. That's what. Thank you very much, my lord. Please, now. I request Karnika Seth will give vote of thanks.
Honorable Justice Lalit, Honorable Justice Madam Nagarathnna, Honorable Justice Narasimha, the distinguished senior advocates on the dais, members of the bar, dear friends and colleagues. It's indeed a matter of great celebration for all of us as a Friday group to witness this occasion when we have the august company of such stalwarts in our legal and judicial fraternity today. It's indeed a matter of great honor and privilege to hear the words of wisdom from all our judges on the dais today. It's a big honor to hear the senior advocates talk about the contribution of immense contribution. It's actually the right words used by Justice Lalit, that Justice Bhagwati has been an ocean of knowledge. And the number of precedents and the judgments which we read today have immense depth and concepts of jurisprudence which were established through the judgments are actually evolving in the course of our legal journey now, even after so many years. I heartily congratulate Sheshu sir for the initiative of having this Friday group, academic group of discourses and speeches and important topics that we discussed in this whole forum, and we continue to discuss. It's a great opportunity for each one of us, whether it's an associate or senior associate or any entire community. It's an applaudable initiative and selfless initiative, and I'm very happy to be a part of the same, and I've had the occasion to address the audience and then participants there. It's been a dual learning process. While I talked about IT Act and electronic evidence and the way things have evolved in the cyberspace, we are looking at metaverse now, and we are looking at cryptocurrency and increasing litigation in this area. It has been an enriching experience for me as well, as when I discussed these kind of issues with our Friday group and learned equally from them. It has always been a great delight for young lawyers to even interact with our fraternity, in the sense that we learn and we grow in every respect, in every field of knowledge. It's not limited to any particular topic, as you would have seen. The galaxy of topics we've dealt with in the last 149 sessions has been amazing. And it's absolutely a commendable achievement to be here today, and for us to have the honor of the presence of honorable judges today to congratulate and celebrate this occasion and further our knowledge from here on. In the end, I just wanted to just read a few lines of what I was really inspired by when I read Justice Bhagwati's judgments. He not only emphasized on access to justice as a principle, but as a concept of PIL or judicial activism brought in the legal fraternity. But as a Padma Vibhushan awardee, he has given pioneering judgments on absolute liability and advocated, in fact elucidated the concepts of personal right to life, personal liberty. And those words are very apt. Right to life, he says in Francis Correlius, is to live with human dignity and all that goes with it: bare necessities of life, adequate nutrition, clothing, necessities of life, and shelter, facilities for reading, writing, expressing, and involving in diverse forms, freely moving about, mixing and commingling with fellow human beings. And this depiction of, or narration of, what is the concept of right to life is so aptly said and exemplified by the Friday group itself, that we are actually living, not only just working as a professional here, are doing a law practice, but we are committed to furtherance of knowledge and real right to life in the true sense of these words. We are living in the Friday group, the way we exchange ideas and the way we learn, and for our mutual growth. With these words, I heartily congratulate the Friday group as a member of the Friday group. I also thank deeply, sincerely, our honorable judges today for having graced this occasion to celebrate this momentous event. Thank you so much.
you very much, Vishwanath. We noticed just now. So we are grateful to you. Ahmed Bhai, we noticed just now. Thank you, other friends. Just join for a cup of tea in the IT.
very well.
कैलेंडर ग्रुप बना दिया है।